Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to, well, crack open some really compelling ideas and see what insights we can pull out for ourselves. Today we're doing something maybe a bit different. We're reaching way back, like millennia back, exploring some ancient wisdom. And the fascinating part is seeing just how relevant this stuff still feels, right? Even in our totally hectic modern lives. Our source material for this journey, it's a really foundational text called the Metta Sutta, specifically some excerpts from the Khuddakapāṭha. It's a text that, well, you're about to hear, offers some pretty profound and actually quite practical guidance.
That's right. And metta, it's usually translated as loving kindness. But this sutta, it's not just, a nice idea. It really functions as a kind of blueprint. It shows how to understand and actively cultivate that quality, that immeasurable quality in your own life.
Exactly, a blueprint. I like that. So, okay, our mission for this deep dive. Let's unpack the core message here. We want to pull out the actual instructions, see what they really mean, and explore the implications, the profound implications, for living a life filled with, well, boundless goodwill. Ready to jump in?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, so the sutta kicks off with this really grand vision. Section 10.8 has this phrase, Metanya sabalokasmi manasamavaya aparimanta. So this immeasurable loving kindness, aparimanta, what are we really talking about here? And crucially, sabalokasmi, towards all beings, all worlds. Just how wide does that net get cast?
Yeah, the scale is just staggering, really. When it says immeasurable, it means exactly that. Like zero limits, boundless. This isn't the kind of kindness you just, sprinkle around occasionally or only give to people you already like. No, it's a quality you're meant to grow without any restriction at all. And sabalokasmi, that just underlines the universality. It's for all beings, everywhere, in all directions, all realms, you might say. It's really pushing us beyond our usual circles, dissolving those mental walls we put up between us and them.
Dissolving walls. Oh, okay.
And then the sutta really drives it home. It gives this amazing instruction, cultivate it, uta adukatiriyanka asambathid avara asapata, which, translates pretty directly to upwards, downwards, and across. But then it adds, without obstruction, without hatred, and without enmity.
Yeah.
So imagine this universal goodwill spreading out in every single direction.
Yeah.
Mentally, emotionally, free of any blockage, any hatred, any ill will. The deep point here isn't just, be nice. It's about actively letting go of any resentment, any limitation inside yourself.
Yeah.
Extending that compassion even towards those you find, well, difficult.
That sounds like a huge internal shift, a really profound one. It's one thing to grasp the idea of this boundless kindness, but another thing entirely to actually live it, right? Moment to moment. So how does the sutta guide us there? How do we embody this? Section 10.9 seems to get practical. It mentions specific postures. Dikhanikaranisino vasayana, standing, walking, sitting, or lying down. What's the significance of that? How do we maintain metta while just, living?
Well, I think what it's subtly telling us is that this cultivation, it's not just for your formal meditation cushion, 10 minutes a day. It's meant to seep into every part of your life, whatever you're doing physically.
Yeah.
Standing, walking, sitting, lying down.
Okay.
But there's a condition attached. It says, yava tassa vigatafindo, which means as long as one is free from drowsiness.
Ah, so you need to be awake to it.
Exactly. It highlights the need for sustained mindfulness. You have to be actively maintaining this awareness of loving kindness, whether you're on your commute, at your desk, just relaxing. It's about being mentally present, engaged with this intention.
Right, not just zoning out.
Precisely. And then this is where it gets really fascinating. The text says that maintaining this mindfulness, etasati adheya, is called brahmate vihara idamahu, which translates to something like the divine abiding or brahmavihara.
The divine abiding. What makes it divine?
Well, it's divine, maybe not in a strictly religious sense for everyone, but because it elevates your whole way of being, your state of mind. Think of it like a major upgrade to your mental software. By constantly holding the space of boundless loving kindness, you're not just doing something nice. You're fundamentally becoming someone different, someone whose internal state can actually shift things, transcend ordinary, often negative reactions. It fosters this more, enlightened and compassionate way of existing.
That's a powerful concept, a divine way of living that's actually accessible. through continuous practice,
Mm.
mindfulness, whatever you're doing. Okay, so if we actually manage this upgrade, this divine abiding, what happens? What are the results? Section 10 Pi 10 seems to lay out some pretty transformative outcomes. It starts with qualities like Dinika Nupagama Silawada Sane Sampano, which you mentioned means things like not holding on to wrong views, being virtuous, having insight. How does practicing metta loving kindness lead to those specific things?
Yeah, that's a great question. How does wishing people well lead to virtue and insight? Well, think about it. When you're actively cultivating metta, your mind naturally starts to soften. It becomes less rigid, less prone to clinging tightly to fixed ideas or, unhelpful viewpoints. That's the dihinka anupagama part, letting go of those views.
Okay, that makes sense.
And if your default setting is genuinely wishing well for all beings, without exception, well, it becomes much harder, almost unnatural, to act in harmful or unwholesome ways. So virtue, or salava, starts to arise more spontaneously. And with that growing clarity, the reduced self-focus that comes from true goodwill, a deeper, clear insight, the sanina sampafano, naturally starts to dawn. It's like the whole inner landscape gets realigned.
A complete internal realignment. Wow.
But it doesn't stop there. The sutta points towards an ultimate outcome. Kamesuviniya gathanahai datukavseya punaretiti.
Okay, that sounds significant. What does that mean?
It's quite profound. It basically means that by overcoming craving, specifically for sensual pleasures, kamesuviniya gati, one never returns to rebirth. Nahai jatukavseya punaretiti.
Rebirth, like escaping the cycle of existence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, we're stepping into deep philosophical waters here, central to many Eastern traditions. The text is suggesting something radical. It's implying that cultivating this boundless, unobstructed loving kindness can fundamentally rewire your entire being. So much so that it leads to freedom from the deepest attachments. Freedom so complete that it actually transcends the cycle of suffering and rebirth itself, as understood in that context. It suggests that this consistent state of universal goodwill, it transforms you so deeply it leads to ultimate liberation, profound inner freedom.
Wow. Okay. From simple daily postures all the way to ultimate liberation, this ancient text, the Metta Sutta, it really covers a lot of ground. So just to recap quickly, we've looked at cultivating this immeasurable, boundless loving kindness. We've seen the need for continuous practice, mindfulness in every moment. And we've touched on these incredible outcomes, virtue, insight, and potentially this ultimate sense of inner freedom. So the big question then, what does this all mean for you listening right now? How might cultivating this kind of goodwill free from obstruction, hatred, enmity, how might that actually play out in your life? What kind of barriers, maybe internal ones, could start to dissolve if you just shifted your inner compass even slightly towards universal well-being?
Yeah, and maybe consider this. What would it genuinely feel like? What would it mean to approach every moment standing, walking, sitting down, even lying down with this active state of measurable loving kindness? Really making sure you're, as the text says, free from drowsiness, so you can maintain that awareness. Just ponder how that consistent internal state, that divine abiding, could fundamentally shift how you experience the world, how it could change your interactions, maybe invite a kind of peace, a kind of freedom you haven't really considered possible before. Something to think about.